Today, we're making a red lentil soup that'll blow your mind. This vegan lentil soup is so easy to make, and with just a few ingredients, it'll be packed full of flavour. It's got a wonderful creamy texture and the slightest amount of heat that makes it the perfect winter soup. There's a lot of recipes for this dish out there, but today I'm going to give you a general recipe that you can customise to your own taste. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to the 1,000 of you who have already subscribed. I really appreciate it, and we'll have a 1,000 subscriber special coming really soon. If you're new here and you want to see more Middle Eastern recipes, then consider subscribing. Now let's jump right in. First thing we'll need for this dish is the lentils, and these are just normal red split lentils that you can find in any grocery store. They have a vibrant, almost carrot-like colour, but sometimes they're a bit paler, and when they cook they'll turn a beautiful mustard colour. You'll need about 250 grams or half a pound of these. We'll also be adding some fresh vegetables to the soup, as they'll impart a lot of flavour. The traditional selection is carrots, onions, tomatoes and garlic, and once you've tried it with these, customise it with your favourite vegetables and let me know what combinations worked well in the comments down below. First one we'll tackle is the carrot, and you'll need about 150 grams or 5 1/4 ounces of it. Start off by peeling it from head to toe, then once peeled, chop it into large chunks about the thickness of a pinky finger. Being precise isn't necessary as we're going to blend all the vegetables together. Next up is one brown or yellow onion, and we're just going to be chopping it into 4 pieces and peeling the skin off. For the tomato, we want to remove the skin, but that's easier after it's boiled. So for now, just slice one plump tomato into quarters as well. Finally, the garlic, and we'll need about 4 to 6 cloves of garlic, which you'll need to peel. Set 2 of the cloves aside for later and add the rest to the vegetables in a bowl. It wouldn't be a soup without liquid, and it's perfectly fine to use water, but stock will add a lot more flavour. If you don't have fresh stock, I recommend getting some good quality vegetable stock cubes instead. A quick trick to help your stock cubes dissolve quicker is to crumble or chop them up before adding the water to them. You'll need 1 1/4 litres or quarts of water to make the soup. To cook the soup, I'm using a large stainless steel pot. Add your lentils to the pot and turn the heat up to high. Pour in your chopped vegetables except the other 2 cloves of garlic. Next up, add all of your stock to the pot. Finally, add in 1 teaspoon of cumin and let it come up to a boil. When it boils, we'll want to pull out the tomatoes and peel their skin. The shock of the hot water makes the tomato skin split from the flesh, and it should be a fairly easy job to pull it off, though be careful, they will be hot. Once you've peeled them, turn the heat down to medium and let the soup simmer for 45 minutes. When the time's up, check the mixture, and the lentils will have expanded and partially dissolved. Check the carrots for doneness, and if they don't split easily, then let it simmer for 10 minutes more. Now, it's time to blend the soup, and I recommend using an immersion blender. If you do use a regular blender, then make sure to keep the lid ajar, and check if your machine can handle hot soups, otherwise you might end up with lentils on your ceiling. Blend the soup fully till no chunks of vegetables remain, and this might take a few minutes, but it's a necessary step to get a creamy texture. When you're done, it'll look something like this, and it will have a beautiful smooth and uniform texture, kind of like wall paint. Just a couple more steps to go. Now we'll make a fried garlic and coriander concoction. So start off by adding about half a tablespoon of olive oil to a saucepan on medium heat. Then mince and add the remaining 2 garlic cloves. Fry the garlic for about 30 seconds until it starts to bubble and sizzle, then add in half a teaspoon of cumin. Fry it for another 10 to 15 seconds and then add in 3 tablespoons of white vinegar. Mix it all together and fry for 15 more seconds and then remove it from the heat and add it straight into your lentil soup. Mix it until well combined and then we'll season the soup to taste. Add 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt to the soup as well as half a teaspoon of black pepper and mix it in well, then taste it. Depending on your stock saltiness, you may need to add another half a teaspoon of salt. The final seasoning is chili powder, and if you want some heat, then add about 1/4 teaspoon of it to the pot and mix it in. Finally, we'll make some fried vermicelli to go in the soup. Start off by adding 1 tablespoon of olive oil to a pot on medium-high heat, and add half a cup of vermicelli to it. Stir the pot and fry the vermicelli for about 2 minutes, and it will go from yellow to pale white to golden. Once it reaches this colour, add it into your soup and stir well to combine. The vermicelli will absorb some of the liquid from the soup, so add in about a cup of water and let the pot boil. After 10 minutes the vermicelli should be cooked. Once again, you may need to dilute the soup and add water. You should aim to have something like this, a soup which can coat a spoon but is thinner than the paint-like texture from earlier. To plate, I'm adding a few ladlefuls to a bowl. Some people add fried bread croutons, which I made previously in my fattoush video. Check it out if you want to add some crunch to your soup. To decorate, I'm garnishing the soup with some coriander leaves that I've just taken off of the stem, and I'm adding some sliced red chilli. Lastly, I'll add a sprinkle of nigella seeds and it's ready to be eaten. And that's your lentil soup done, or as it's called in Arabic, shorbat adz. So I've dished myself up a bowl and added some freshly cracked black pepper. Now it's time for the taste test. This is one of those foods that I wouldn't mind eating at any temperature. It's so incredibly creamy and it has such a satisfying savoury flavour. The vermicelli noodles add just the right amount of textural contrast, and if you wanted to, you could even add some fried bread croutons. Give this a try and I'm sure it'll become your new favourite soup. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the 1000 subscriber special that's coming soon. As usual, all the ingredient amounts and directions are in the description box below, and I'll be back next week with another recipe.